I am coming on here to air my dirty laundry so you can feel better about yours. I am currently, are you ready? $145,533 in debt. That's cute, huh? So cute. Two car loans. There are some student loans in there, and a personal loan, and then consumer debt, credit card debt. So in the last 6 months, I think we've paid off about $7,000. And I thought, what better way to keep myself accountable than to come on here, create a group of people that are also in the same situation or have gotten out of this situation or whatever the situation may be. But basically, we're going to do this. We're going to get out of it. It's not going to be quick, and it's not going to be a good time, but, shit's got to be done. So, I am currently going to just be checking in often and showing you guys what I'm doing, how I'm going to get there, what I've done so far, all the things. And I would love your advice and input going forward. So, yeah, it's time to do this. So, anyways, that's my dirty laundry. I guess it's better than a skid mark in your underwear. Although I don't know. I'd probably take a skid mark in my underwear before this much debt.
The credit card debt situation gets worse and worse. We're seeing the rise of a lot of buy now, pay later firms and companies, services, where you have it. But a lot of people are taking out loans. We're not seeing as many cash buyers for cars, houses, or anything. Everyone is taking out a very long-term loan. So we do know that there's a lot of debt going on. It's very sad. Interest rates really are high right now. So it's not a good situation to be taking out debt. And even for groceries, simple groceries, a lot of families just can't afford the cost of groceries. They're taking it out on credit card debt. They're not paying the balances. It's just a very sad time to see as the credit card debt crisis gets worse and worse. Now, I personally am a huge fan of credit cards because you are getting cash back rewards, but if they are utilized incorrectly, it can be a very dangerous tool because the interest rates on that debt is very high. It's upwards from 10 to 15, even 20%, maybe even 25%. So you're going to lose a lot of money there. And it's a really hard situation to get yourself out of because it snowballs. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys are in debt, and also take a look at the rest of these stories.
We have just under $10,000 in credit card debt, and I have a goal to pay off that credit card debt by the end of this year. Come with me. Let's do a BJ song. I told you guys that I would show you exactly what I got from BJ's. As you know, we are focusing on paying off our credit card debt, so we are trying to be really good about what we spend our money on. However, disclaimer, we have not done a Costco, BJ, Sam's like bulk shop in a long time, like prior to the wedding. So honestly, we just had a little bit of fun. I will tell you exactly how much every item was, and I will also tell you how much we spent after all of the coupons. First thing we got was Tide Simply All-in-One. I believe this was $14.99, and we had a coupon. We also got these Bill Naps. Hopefully I'm saying that right, for $4.49. This was a request from my husband. These were $14.99, and I believe there was a $2 coupon, and I got these for my dogs. As I said, you guys, their breath smells horrendous, and they love a good treat. This was $5.99. We also had a $2 coupon, so it turned into $3.99. My husband's favorite hot dogs is by this brand, so he wanted this. This was $13. There was no coupon. I think between me, my husband, my stepdaughter, breakfast, all the things, we'll get some good use out of them. So they were $4.99. Got Fruity Pebbles for my husband. He loves Fruity Pebbles, and I think so does my stepdaughter, and I'll eat them on occasion, so this was $6. We got these Snickers. They are a 24 count, and they were only $12.30, I think. No coupon. We got this ginormous thing. How many freaking 39.9 ounces? This is insane. This was also like 14. It was $19.99. We got a $4 coupon, so it was $15.99. So cheap in comparison to how much we spend on these beads at Walmart. So if you can ever save yourself, go to a bulk shop for these because they were also $15 at Costco. This is the steak and cheese spring rolls, and then we also got these like basically pizza pockets. These were $13, and I think these were $17. We also had a coupon for both, I believe, maybe $2 off. I have been wanting for so long. I have not bought these in such a long time because this is so far from a necessity, but they were so inexpensive. I think they were $15. Onion Gruyere dip, if I'm being completely honest, I don't remember how much it was, maybe $7. We also got these Oreos. My stepdaughter's gonna love them. I love them, and so does my husband. So this was a must. Between this and the Snickers, we would not choose, so we got both. That was everything that we got. We ended up spending about $190, almost even, but we got $20 off from all of the coupons. So we ended up spending $170 on today's trip. As a reminder, your debt does not consume you. I hope you have a great day. Bye, guys.
Now this gonna get y'all talking. They said that while black people hold the highest amounts in student loan debt, white people hold the highest amounts in credit card debt. So I think we should remember that debt is not about being tied to poor or the rich. It's tied to decision making. Working in the banking industry, I worked with a Caucasian client previously who I had a great relationship with. This man owed $150,000 in credit card debt and was actively trying to pay it back, but had no capacity to pay it back, which is why we talk about the difference between character and capacity. Character is I have the willpower to want to pay it back. Capacity is I can or cannot pay it back based on my financial situation. So with that being said, I'm a little curious on, is there anyone who has never had any type of debt?
I can't stand financially irresponsible people because I just watched a video of this lady who said that she filed for bankruptcy 6 years ago, and since then she is now over $90,000 in debt. She was explaining why she's in debt, and I've never been more pissed off because she has two $20,000 car loans. She has loans on all of her furniture, on this high-end stuff, and it's like, you already filed for bankruptcy 6 years ago, right? To file for bankruptcy in the first place, it's crazy, but then to get $90,000 more in debt after filing for bankruptcy, and I really think her tone is what pissed me off the most because she was so chill and so nonchalant about being this much in debt, and it's like, you already filed for bankruptcy one time. How have you learned nothing from that? And people like her, I genuinely think deserve to be in this type of debt, because if you filed for bankruptcy one time and you haven't learned anything from it, when are you ever gonna learn, alright? Because for most people, that would be a huge wake-up call to be like, holy shit, I need to fix my habits. But instead, it's like, oh no, TikTok, help me on my journey to be, financially free so I'm not in debt anymore. Meanwhile, you are the sole reason you're in debt, alright? You didn't learn from your past mistakes because you're still living this luxury life. You still have these expensive cars and expensive furniture when you shouldn't be having those things because you're $90,000 in debt.
I don't know why I'm making this because nobody's going to watch it, but I created this account to talk about and track my progress in paying off the immense debt that I am in. 90% of the debt I'm in is student loan debt. So a lot of people have told me we'll just file bankruptcy, but unfortunately I can't do that for a large sum of the debt I'm in. So I'm using social media as a way to try to pay off my debt. In this video, I'm just going to go over the different kind of debt I'm in, how much it is, and where it's coming from. Let's jump right in. This is my Discover credit card, and I have about $9,000 there. This is my Capital One credit card. I have about $6,000 there. This is what's remaining on my car. I bought my car back in November of 2022, so COVID pricing had affected this. I do split my car payment into two during the month. I pay $300 at the beginning of the month, and then that $346.91 at the end of the month. Time for the fun stuff. My student loans. This is the smallest student loan account that I have. This is the only loan that is not federal as well. So this is a private lender. I owe about $4,300 there. This is the second most scary one. I have federal loans in my name, and then my mom took out loans for me as well. So this half is in my name. I owe $99,000 here, and the monthly payment on this amount, where things sit currently, is $1,000 a month, and these payments are supposed to kick in December of 2026. This is the first loan in my mom's name, sitting at about $40,000. The second loan sitting at about $36,000. And the last loan sitting at about $41,000. And the monthly payment for the loans in her name are about $1,400 per month. So I'm looking at a total monthly payment of $2,400 just for my student loans, which is absurd. I am working 3 jobs currently to try to chip away at my debt. And I know what you're probably thinking. How could you put yourself in this situation? What is wrong with you? What did you do? Yada, yada, yada. I've heard it all. I'm very aware of my situation. And unfortunately, life just didn't work out the way that I thought it would. I have more than one college degree. I went to graduate school, hence the large student loan debt. I did use my degrees for a little while, but then COVID hit. I wasn't working anymore. I had an infant child that I stayed home with, and one thing led to another, and I'm in the situation I'm in. It is what it is. I try to take it one day at a time, but the cloud that's looming over my head, especially about my student loan debt, is consuming me. It's horrendous. So if you think that you're in bad debt, I guarantee you that my situation is worse. Unless you went to med school or law school, I probably have the most debt that you've seen. It sucks. It's really isolating because my peers don't really understand the situation I'm in. My siblings didn't go to college, so they don't have any student loan debt. So it really sucks, but I'm trying to do everything that I can to chip away at this debt and get it under control. People have told me to file bankruptcy, which I have contemplated for the credit cards at least, but you can't do that with student loans. So I either need to save a ton of money in the next year because my payments start in December of 2026, or I need to pass away because this is too much. So you're not alone.
The other day, I was talking to one of my dearest friends, kind of hinted to her that I was considering getting a little side hustle, a part-time job, a second job, just something to bring in extra income. I was met with immediate judgment. She kind of looked at me and said, "Oh, really?" Totally looking at me like, why the heck would I do that? A little taken aback. I was not expecting her to pass judgment on me. But then I kind of put back into perspective. There's a lot of shame around debt, whatever that looks like. Credit card debt, school loan debt, whether that be shame that you put on yourself or shame that others put onto you. But what I don't think that we should do is shame people for trying to better their situation. I currently am 32. I'm single. I don't have any kids. I have time. I have energy. So if I wanted to fill some of my free time with a second job, you would think that somebody who supports you would be happy for you. They know that I made some pretty dumb financial decisions when I was 18, heck, even when I was 25. I know that I'm not alone, and I know that, yes, I'm in my 30s and I'm paying for those mistakes now. I'm working on it, and I have an action plan, and it's in action, and we are paying it off.
Sometimes people make more money than you, and that is okay. Online, I see this all the time when people have something that you cannot afford, when it's beyond your financial means, when you look at it and you want it, but you cannot afford it. It's really tempting to say, oh, they're just in debt. Obviously, like if I can't afford it, they can't either. That is the general consensus for most people. But honestly, even though some people are in debt, and even though a lot of people overspend and don't handle their finances well, some people actually just do make more money. They do have more money. They are able to afford things that you cannot. Some people started early with no debt. Some people have really good jobs that pay very well. Some people get financial help. Some people get an inheritance that's beyond what you will get. Some people just have a more lucky situation with timing. That is something that's really frustrating if you are constantly looking at other people and wondering why they have things that you can't. So unfortunately, you just have to focus on your own journey, what you can afford, what you can do to increase your income, lower your expenses, and keep that gap, and use that gap to build wealth by investing in assets so that one day you can afford the life that you want and the things that you love. But watching other people and determining that they're in debt no matter what, it's just not the case always. Sometimes people just make more money, and that's okay.
One thing I just don't understand is why enough is not enough for some people. Like sometimes when I hear people's stories about how they're $20, $30, $40,000 even deep in credit card debt, and a lot of this comes from not because of falling on hard times and having to use their credit card to live. No, a lot of it is just extras. Decorating their home, clothes, shoes, accessories, trips. I mean, just living a life that they clearly can't afford because they're just not happy with enough. And the thing is, a lot of times with people, some people, they just blow their money and they have nothing to show for it. But a lot of people who are deep in credit card debt, a lot of times, yeah, they do have a lot of stuff to show for. They have a lot of material things to show for. They have a closet full of clothes that they can't even wear it all in a year because it's just so much. But yet it's not enough, and yet they continue to swipe. And that's just something that I just don't understand, because having that amount of debt in itself is stressful. I mean, the monthly payments alone, a lot of people are paying 22, 26% interest, maybe even higher. But yet we keep spending money. It's like, I don't know, does it get to a point where you're just like, well, I'm so deep into it. It's just why stop now? I don't know, but that's just one thing I don't understand, because it's like you're continuing to spend money. You're continuing to buy things that you don't need. You're continuing to buy things that you already own. And I just don't get it. Like, why is it so hard to just stop?
I think I have more credit card debt than anyone else on TikTok, and no, that is not a flex, that is my hook. So thanks for watching the first 5 seconds of this video. Before I tell you how much credit card debt I am in, I'm going to tell you how I got here. I got married at 18 years old, and I moved 2,000 miles away from my family to be with my husband, who was never home because he was always overseas at the time. And I got so depressed. I dealt with so many dark emotions during that time. I developed a spending addiction to deal with my depression, planning trips and going out shopping and going out to eat and doing this and doing that when we didn't have the money to do it. We had no money. We were 18 years old and brand new to adulthood. We had no money and we had no parental support, but I didn't like that. So I got credit cards and I racked those babies up. Over the next 13 years, I continued to do so. I basically treated my credit cards like debit cards. If I didn't have the money in my bank account to go and do something or buy something or go eat somewhere or whatever it was that I wanted to do, I just swiped a credit card. And I just treated our credit card bills like just regular monthly bills that we were going to have. I had a horrible money mindset, and I know that now. Now, 31 years old, I recognize the behavior that I had for 13 years, and I'm working on it now. I recognize the horrible money mindset that I had, and I am working on it. I recognize that I have a spending addiction and that I was spending money I didn't have to fill a void and to make myself feel good, and I'm working on it now. Now let's get to how much credit card debt I am in. I started this journey in July, and I had 11 credit cards. Over those 11 credit cards, we had $89,000 in credit card debt. We are now down to 8 credit cards, and we've knocked it down to about $83,000. My goal in 2026 is to go hard on this and get as much paid off as possible, because we want to buy a house in early 2027. So if you're interested in watching and seeing if we can do it and watching me change my money habits and changing the way that I think about money, then follow along. That is what my entire account is about.